All right. Please give a hand for Lorena Carthy and Ruben Jernslett.
We're going to do a forensic analysis. Well, that's the title. Let me start with, my name is Lorena Carthy, and this is
Ruben Jernslett.
And we are students. We study digital forensics at Noroff, and our other part of the team is in the United States, and she couldn't come today. So we're going to go quite fast through all of these things, and but the most important thing is actually to give you our aim of the research. And a very quick disclaimer. So what we wanted to do is to be able to show if there are any forensic element in forensic focused browsers. I'm sorry, in privacy focused browsers on mobile devices. But we decided to actually do a quick research to see if it was actually possible to go into an actual research paper. So this is preliminary research. I would like to start to explain why we did this, and it's because we are in the age of surveillance. Everybody knows that, so we decided to look at first the states, because it's the land of the freedom, where 91% of adults believe that, agree that consumers don't really have any power, any control over what companies have, like their private information have. So that's a very high number, but what about somewhere closer? So here in Europe, we have, in the UK, 1.5 million CCTV cameras all around us. And at some point, they have said that there are at least 14 cameras per citizen, which is very scary. But then again, yeah, but this is not Norway. Oh, well, Norway. The NSA helped Norway at some point. It was only 2 years ago that, 3 years ago that we had information about how they have set up antennas to spy on us. So it's kind of like, there's an entire research paper about that. It's really interesting, very scary as well. But as a consumer, I obviously don't want the government or law enforcement to have any information, any spies on my own phone, you know? I Google a bunch of weird things, so I don't want them to be spying on me, and I'm pretty sure nobody wants that. But from the other side, and as future forensic investigators, we want to be able to still get some information, especially if a crime has been committed, and now with mobile phones, everything pretty much goes through it. So we found ourselves in this paradox where you don't want to find any information, but you also do. So it was actually quite easy to be objective. And the 3 browsers that we decided to focus on are browsers that I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about. So we focus on DuckDuckGo, which is like they really said, we give you the essentials for privacy, which is like you have to do the other part. Then we have Firefox Focus, which is constantly asking you to delete your browser history. Constantly asking you. If you have used it, you know it. And Brave is about, they have inbuilt browser security for trackers. So they really are like, we are all against trackers. So that's the point when we were like, is it really, from a forensic point of view, do we really get to find zero information about a user based on the browsers that they're using? So I'm going to go into that in a minute. But our process for this research, we started with setting up emulators on physical devices because Android can be complicated. For mobile forensics, you really need to be able to root a phone. So we wanted to be able to have both versions of the emulator and a physical device. Then we had a list of websites that we visit, so we can have at least information across the 3 browsers. And then we acquired the data as if let's say a suspect is found with their phone in their hand, and we can just extract it on site. Then we clean all the browsers, and we acquire the data one more time, and that's it. And both data sets have been reviewed. And today we're presenting our findings. So we start with Brave. Oh, well, that moved. In Brave, once you acquire the data on site, you still get all the information, which is very common to find. So we have the cache and we have a history database, and it is very okay to find it. The problem is that you do get it kind of in plain text. So it's just a database, and everything that you have searched is right there. And even straight strings. And we also had a lot of leftover timestamps. After we clean we use the in-app cleaning option, we were able to find still remaining cache files, which is a little complicated because if you're cleaning your app and you're erasing your information, it should really erase it, but it didn't. And at some point, we had a lot of information from places like eBay, and I believe it was also Yahoo, but we never really visit those sites, so it was quite complicated to figure out. And it was an actually success response code, so we will really like to be able to look into that. So that's kind of like our next step. And with Brave, finally, we realized that when you download a file, they still stay in your data. So from a forensic point of view, this is great because we were able to go back to it and see what you downloaded. In a way, it can actually be taken as a history review. Then we have Focus. Okay, so all my logos have moved. For Focus, some websites stop working because they really block all the trackers that you have. So to be able to make websites work, such as Wikipedia, you still need to remove the tracker, remove the block from the trackers. So that's, okay, it's fine. But once you go in to check the evidence, because this is before using the clean button, you get it in an XML file. So it's like, okay, that's fine. You haven't cleaned the app yet, so. And once again, we have databases and cookies all around. It's like all the pages that you have visited. Once we clear the history, then a very interesting database just appeared out of nowhere. It wasn't in the first one, but it appeared on the second one. So we didn't run these searches to be able to use autofill options. But if there's a database, then there's going to be data at some point, which is, Focus was supposed to be the best of the three. Then, I went too fast. Oh yeah, and we also got that file that just appeared with the word password. At some point I did use the word password as a password, but it was supposed to appear in the first part of it before cleaning it, not right after. So then again. However, I can actually tell you that Focus does clean your data. We weren't able to get any history or cache or cookies, but it does remember there were places where you said, oh, I don't mind about the trackers on this page, which once again, it can be used as history. It can be evidence of you visiting a site.
Okay, building upon the experiences we gathered from the tests we did on the two first browsers, we continued on with the DuckDuckGo browser. And the idea was to find artifacts that we could later identify if found present on the device. So we started with app.db. That's where all of the visited websites were stored. We found the cookies as well with all the timestamps and corresponding data. And then we thought it was a good idea to include thumbnails because later on you'll see that we we were able to extract those as well, even after clearing the history using the fire button or fire function built in the browser. So, yeah, after using the inbuilt function, all of the same websites are found in the database, so it's not getting cleaned in any way, and that's quite interesting. We didn't expect it beforehand. So continuing on, we tried to look at the application database and see where the cookies might have gone, and then the cookies from the cookies file itself was cleared by doing a hex comparison of the before and after the cleaning of the file. We could see there we found no remnants of the same artifacts of the websites that we used or that we found before. However, after digging a little bit more, the cookies journal file still contain remnants of the same websites that we had been visiting, which indicates that, yes, the hex file itself does clear or gets cleared, but the journals file, which is easily obtainable, still has the remnants available. And then even the website thumbnails were found to be present even after the clean. So all in all, I'm quite disappointed in the DuckDuckGo browser in the terms of actually cleaning the browsing history of the device, because our findings here indicate that they're not doing a very good job, apparently. So we have some recommendations here at the end. I'm not sure if we're running over time here, but we're good? Yeah. So we basically ended up with thinking end users should not blindly trust the product's advertisements. So in the case of these three browsers, which lean heavily towards being privacy-centered and stuff, might not be too too good at those aspects. Trackers can never be blocked, or you can't block all trackers, so you have to be aware of them. Encrypting your phone and keeping everything updated and stuff, it's kind of given. And then at the end here, if you have any questions regarding the process or the findings or anything, we do intend to keep on figuring stuff out with this, and so feel free to ask us questions later or offline.
We have about 6-7 minutes for questions now, if you're done.
Yeah.
Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Very simple question. Which Android version is that?
Sorry?
Which Android version is that?
For the physical device, we use a 6.4, and for the emulators, we use 7.1. It's because we wanted to make it more realistic as possible, because if we use Android 2, nobody's using Android 2, and Android 8 wasn't available in our physical device. So we kind of stay on what's commonly used right now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the talk. I was wondering what kind of review your research has to go through before someone could use this as evidence, let's say, in a court of law.
Definitely nothing. The problem is that one of the physical device, we have to root it, and the emulators cannot be really proven because they are also automatically rooted. So it wouldn't, unless we want to go and actually work on research paper for this. So for that, we are actually going to be able to base it on forensically standards and make it actually forensically sound. Mm-hmm.
But so you're expecting in the future someone could extract the files that you were showing and use it?
Yeah,
in
absolutely. The thing is, we also wanted to do it more open source because we're students, so we wanted to be able to focus on that point. But if you use Celebrite, you can actually extract all that data. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
I think we got another question over here. I'm going to go to this guy right next to me first.
So have you reported your findings to the actual developers of these browsers? And if yes, did you get any feedback from them?
As of right now, we haven't, no. We just finished our tests a couple of days ago, and we tried to figure out how to present it in the best possible way. So if these are mistakes that developers have made, then of course we should try to notify them in the best possible way.
So, quick question. You said sometimes they delete the database files, but did you recover things from sort of unallocated? Could you, if you search for the websites that you visited, did you find them in free space?
Yeah, we had some strange cases when we did the testing where, in one instance, the database or app.db itself didn't contain much data at all, but the temporary database file, the db-val, I believe it's called, still contained the same data that you found in the main application database, and that was readily available. It's not easy nor not hard to find at all. Yeah.
All right, one more before lunch. Last question.
So bottom line, how big is the difference for an end user using those privacy browser or using any Android browser? Is there any big difference, or is it just in the marketing?
It's hard to say without testing all the different browsers that are available. But I mean, if you're aware of the limitations of these browsers, then of course you can use them and still be fairly safe, I guess. But you have to make sure that everything's being cleared correctly. Maybe not just rely on the inbuilt function of the applications themselves. Maybe go the step further. But yeah, without checking the different browsers that are out there, we can't say for sure. Yeah.
Really great job, guys. It's good to know that people are actually doing something in school these days, unlike when I was there. Yeah, fantastic having you guys here today. Thank you so much.